What up, bros? This is Bro Tosterone,
And this is aaroB.
and we're here with SE2Review.net, and we're doing another replay review. This time it's going to be a ZvP between Pikachu and Xenocide. Alright, so we're going to take Pikachu's point of view.
Yep.
Okay.
And right away you can just see the overload's kind of idling for maybe 30 seconds too long. It should be sent right away to the closest spawn.
Yep. Like we said in our last video, the first thing you should do is make your drone, send your guys off the mine, and immediately after, take your overlord and send them across the map, like you're doing right now. That was a little late.
Yeah.
Alright, so right now, what do you like to do in ZvP as of now, aaroB? You're opening.
I used to I like to open 15 pool, 15 gas,
15 pool, 15
and
gas.
then I don't really think it's necessary to get speed right away with the 14 gas because it's not like you're gonna be, I don't know, like all-inning, or you're not gonna accomplish that much with speed that early. So I'd rather just like do more of a macro build with the 15 pool.
Okay, yeah, that's a good point. I
Yep.
personally go 14 gas, 14 pool, but you know, just to fend off any early harass if there is any. But that's
Yeah.
not very common right now, so that's okay. And so, right when you move up with your overlord and you see him here, you should pull back right away,
Yeah.
because
Well,
if you didn't know this, you can spot the Nexus before the Nexus can spot you.
mhm. Sometimes you can just kind of expect them to just use that probe to see the overlord and just not even bother with it. But I guess at the lower levels of play, it's a good idea to try and pull it back.
Yeah, it gives you that extra time.
Yeah, especially if you're fast expanding like Pikachu is.
Yeah, you wanna hide your fast expansion if you're gonna be going 15 hatch or 14 hatch,
Yeah.
whatever you did.
Yeah, you don't want to get it blocked by the pylon. It's really annoying.
All right, everything so far is pretty standard. You got in, you're checking out, taking a look around. Something you should be looking for here is the Nexus energy with your drone. That's something I always look at. Right now it's full.
Yeah.
That could indicate a lot of things. That could indicate that he wants to chrono boost out his warp gates really quickly, or you know, wants to go for a faster tech and chrono boost that out, and he's not using it on economy. So that's something to think about when you're scouting throughout his base.
Yeah. You can see it's chrono boosting the cyber core, so it could mean a 4 warp gate, but it's not, definitely not certain yet.
Yep. Okay. With your overlord. Okay, I see you're moving it now. Yeah, it's a little late. It could have died to a stalker that was coming out, but you're
Yeah.
moving it back toward your base. I would actually like to see you move it toward his natural, a little
Yeah.
bit outside, so you could see where he when he expands. What do you think
Yeah,
about
you can
that?
just park it. Yeah, I agree with that completely. You should just park it to the right of his gases on his natural, because it will be out of his vision and it won't die right away.
Yeah, and right when you see he puts on expansion, you can move it away, move it to the third base, and poop creep on it.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
Also, with your second overlord or your third one, it doesn't really matter. You should try and park it to the just outside his base, so you can just poke in and poke out and get any like additional info, so
Yep.
you can tailor your build accordingly.
Yeah, so your second or third overlord should be right around here. And I would actually put my second overlord there. My third overlord would go at the middle of the base, or the middle of the map, in between the
Yeah.
watchtowers, because they can't be reached by any units, and you can see if he's occupying any of those, which is good.
Yeah. So right now, you're kind of behind in the harvester count, like quite a bit. I'm just curious about why. I guess you're kind of supply blocked too. Just little things to work on. Always
Yeah.
making sure you get those OVs out in time, because they can just set you behind gradually, and then you can just lose the game just by forgetting that.
Yep, definitely. See, right now you're 38 out of 44. You're going to be supply black again very soon. You should be building overlords at this point.
Yeah, and suddenly making a lot of links.
Yeah.
I guess maybe you're anticipating a 4 gate.
Yeah, he was moving out with a bunch of units, so that's understandable that you made all those. But right when you move out and see he has nothing coming, you should be making straight drones from now.
Yeah, you should always like make one or two pairs of Zerglings as soon as your pool finishes, so you can see when he's moving out and react even faster.
Alright, and you see a warp prism here doing nothing. It's kind of
Yeah,
interesting.
just kind of chilling.
That's a little weird. So you're going to be expecting some sort of drop or warp in. That's not very common though, so. One thing you don't know though is if he's expanding or not. You haven't really scouted him in a while. And you haven't been poking in with any overlords, so you're missing out on some information that you can be getting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you should always be occupying these watchtowers. And having a Ling outside his base is also a really good idea, so you know when he moves out.
Yeah. You should always have that. Should be droning up pretty hard right now because you do have a lot of units.
Yeah,
In
you
case
have
he does push.
You have a lot of units to fend off any like pushes that come, or just hold it off until you can get more units out. And you have a lot of larvae sitting out. They should be being made into drones or something right now. Instead, you're making them into Zerglings.
Yeah, you should always have a reason for making units, and right now you're just getting more. You do have the fast expansion now, but you're still behind with 7 harvesters, and you're still making Zerglings. So if he does decide to do like a mid-game push, you're not going to have the economy to kind of defend it and produce a whole bunch of units at once. That's kind of the idea behind Zerg, I think. You just need to macro up heavy at the beginning and then get the units out just in time for when they do a push.
Yep, definitely. So the whole entire time you should be focusing on economy, and then when he does come out with units, that's when you want to make the units to defend it. Alright, and we see him dropping 2 immortals. You should be able to clean this up. Pull that queen away. That queen gets lucky, but you should pull her away. Could have lost her.
Yeah.
Alright, and you're going lair right now, and you're still only on 1 gas.
Yeah, and
To afford anything in lair, you're going to need at least 2.
you should probably get your second gas as soon as you start lair at the very least.
Yeah, as
not
soon
have
as you
it
start lair.
either. Yeah. And your drone saturation could be a lot better in your main. You have a whole bunch of drones just bouncing around. You have 16 in your natural and only, I think, like 10 in your main. You could try and balance it out better. It's not a huge issue because once you have more than 16, then that's when it gets oversaturated. I think optimal for Zerg is about 16 per base.
Okay, I'm having a feeling here that you're unsure whether or not to drone or not, or make units.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you really should be scouting. Have those watchtowers and have that Zergling outside the base so you know if you're safe to drone or not, because it's like you're a little indecisive with your larva. You have so much larva not doing anything.
Yeah. That's another thing about it, like scouting and seeing how many bases they're on, because if the more bases you know they're occupying, the longer it's going to take them to push. So then you should feel safer to drone, but you're not scouting his natural, so you don't know whether he's macroing up or building an army, so it's really important to scout.
Yeah, scouting's really important here. And your money's building up really high.
Yeah.
If you're going to be massing Zerglings off 2 base, you're going to want a macro hatch, or, you could be expanding right now also.
Yeah, you're doing a decent job with the injects, but the only problem is you're just not using the larva, because you have like 12 larvae at your at the hatchery in your main.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you should always try to use those larvae up.
Yeah, and your money's just getting higher and higher. So as Zerg, if your money is approaching 1,000 or anywhere around there, it's time to start panicking. So you need to start building anything you can just to spend it all. Either by expanding or, getting upgrades, more drones. Drones are always good.
Yeah. Maybe you're saving the larva for in case he does a push, but even if he does do a push, you only have enough supply for you used to have only enough supply for 10 units, so you gotta always make sure that if you're gonna pump 20 sets of Zergling at once, you need to have enough supply for that, because if you don't, then you're just gonna die to a push.
Okay, and it looks like he's gonna be double expanding across the map. That's a good way to spend your money.
And I just noticed you still haven't scouted. You don't even know if he's on 2 base, 3 base, 1 base.
Yeah.
And that's really important information. You really need to have that.
Alright, and you're making corruptors now? Maybe you're expecting Colossus, but you haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah, you haven't even sent an Obi into his base. It's really, you have to know his unit composition just so that you can make the right units to counter him.
Usually a good time to send in your Overlord if you have your game clock on. It's around 5.5 minutes to 6 minutes. Alright.